Welcome to the Let's Talk BS podcast. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Sofia, and we're coming to you live from the
757, where we discuss real estate,
culture, and current events.
Good morning. What's going on, Sofia? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Doing good. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Yeah.
Happy belated Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Thanksgiving was, because we haven't recorded since Thanksgiving, right?
No, right before
Yeah.
then.
How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. I didn't cook. I didn't really do anything. So, yeah, it was nice.
Cool. What? I mean, you say you didn't do anything. Did you guys eat turkey or eat anything?
Oh,
or?
yeah. I had a plate, but that's it. No leftovers, no nothing for me. I didn't cook anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So this year was chill.
Cool. I mean, so did you go somewhere, I guess, then? I mean, but you said you had a plate.
Yeah. So I got a plate from someone. Like a plate of food.
Oh, I know. I got you. I'm just, I mean, you're being very vague on Thanksgiving. I said, how was your Thanksgiving? You said, I got a plate.
Nothing. I literally didn't do anything.
No, I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Well, forget that. It seemed like you didn't want to say what you did. I mean, did you go somewhere?
So I did go to my cousin's house.
See?
He cooked.
There you go. See, that's what I'm
but
saying.
I came home though. Like I really didn't do anything.
No, but you said you went to your cousin's house. That is something, right? I mean, would you consider that being? I would consider that if someone said, "Hey, what did you do for Thanksgiving this year?" Oh, I went to so and so's house. I went to this house. I went to their house. I mean, I think that's something.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
For me, I went to my parents' house for Thanksgiving.
Oh, you did?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So when someone would ask me, "Hey, what'd you do for Thanksgiving?" I would say I went to my parents' house.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, yeah, I didn't do anything.
Gotcha. Cool deal.
Yeah, and then let me see what else happened that weekend. I feel like that week. Oh, my daughter left though. She went to Florida. She went to go see her grandmother. So she flew out on Wednesday and she flew back in on Saturday. And then that Saturday, I did go to a birthday party.
Okay.
At Just Birdie, which was pretty cool again. And their food is bomb, man.
I'm about to say you went there before, you said, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Second birthday party I've been to there at Just Birdie. And it's actually a pretty nice place for like older kids and adults. Okay. I wouldn't take little kids there. But I mean, you could if you have kids that, would sit there and play those games.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool deal.
Yep. And then since then, I haven't even put up my Christmas tree yet. Have you done that?
Yeah, we went to put that Christmas tree last week.
Yeah, haven't done any of that.
Okay.
We did build gingerbread houses, though.
Cool.
The kids did, and they crafted. So they made like these little, not necessarily a globe. It was like a bowl, and then they did like a little village inside of the bowl type of thing. We did that. But I haven't done anything else, really, at all. Okay. Which is not likely for me.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
Thanksgiving was cool. I went to my parents' house. So they cooked. Me and my dad did the turkey, and then like all the women, for the most part, kind of did all like the sides and desserts and stuff. So that was cool.
What y'all have for dessert this year?
Sweet potato pie, apple pie, pecan pie.
Oh yeah.
And then my sister makes this this thing. She makes it literally just for me. It's like a Rice Krispie peanut butter, like chocolate covered dessert. I think I mentioned to you before. We said on the podcast before. Yeah. So she makes it every single year. So that's pretty much what I always lock in on. I'll get some sweet potato pies and then I'll eat that.
I didn't have any sweet potato pie. Matter of fact, I don't even think I had a dessert this year. Which is, I told you, man, it was different this year. I'll tell you that much. It was different.
I see.
It was very different this year.
I see. But yeah, so like I said, went to my parents' house, stayed there for the most of the day, played games, did the normal Thanksgiving thing. Then, let me see, after that weekend, we picked out our Christmas tree. So every year we get a fresh Christmas tree. It's funny because that's something that like my wife, she kind of likes to do. So ever since we've been together, that's what we've always done. I always had a fake tree. My parents still, it's funny to this day, the same tree that we had growing up, like we would put a fake tree up, they still had that same exact tree, like to this day. So It's like, 25 years ago, same tree. But so yeah, we went and picked out a tree on Saturday, this past Saturday. And then
do you have issues with bugs coming in the house?
Bugs?
With the tree?
No, I haven't seen any bugs at all with the Christmas tree.
Okay.
Nah. It sheds. One thing I guess.
Does it smell?
Smells like piney, like that that piney smell, I guess you can say. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, we picked out a Christmas tree. We haven't decorated it yet though. So that's something that we're gonna do. We always normally do that around this like the weekend.
In December.
Yeah, in December, first week in December. So yeah, we're gonna do that this weekend. What else? Let's see. We went and took my kids, they actually were out of school they were also out of school on Monday. So my daughter, she really wanted to see Moana too. Okay. So we went and I took her to that. My son, he didn't really want to watch it. So him and Brooke stayed home and me and her watched it. And it was decent. It was pretty cool, man. She loved it. Like she literally, didn't even blink. It seemed like she was sitting there watching the movie. She brought her little Moana doll with her, was singing the songs when they were going on because we've heard all the songs already. When we were in the car on the way home, she wanted to hear him again. So I was playing the soundtrack driving home. So she was really enjoying that, that the movie or whatnot. So that was pretty cool. And then let's see, my birthday was Wednesday. So that was cool. I turned a big 38. So, I'm excited about that. Another year, another blessing.
Happy birthday.
Oh, appreciate it. So my birthday, I went down to North Carolina, me, my dad, and my son. We typically go down there every year to catch a basketball game to see the Tar Heels play. And so we went down there. The game actually fell on my birthday this year. So that was pretty cool to have that experience. So we did good, man. We had a great time. Carolina lost, unfortunately, which sucked. I think, and me and my dad were talking about it we've been doing this for a long time. But in recent memory, we can't remember the last time we went to a game and they lost.
Oh,
no, it is the first time that they actually lost. Yeah, I would say in at least the last 10 years that we've went.
How much did they lose by?
They got beat pretty bad. They got beat by like 15 points, I think it was, 94-79, I want to say. Yeah, so they got beat pretty handily. They played Alabama. Alabama's a really good team. Alabama's funny. Last year when they played, Alabama played North Carolina in the March Madness tournament, mm-hmm. and Alabama actually is the team that beat them in the tournament and knocked them out the tournament. So I was hoping that Carolina get some revenge this year on them, but they didn't. They lost. But it was cool. We had a great experience. My son, he had a great time. He looks forward to it every year. We call it boys' day out is what we call it. Between me, my dad, and my son. So it was pretty cool just kind of having that experience and have another one of those under our belt for this year. So yeah, that was my birthday. Came home.
You got any plans this weekend for your birthday?
Yeah. So let's see. Saturday, Brooke said she pretty much got like a whole day kind of, I guess, set out for me, I guess you can say in a sense. So Saturday, she's getting us massages at the Cavalier that morning. Then she said something about lunch somewhere. I can't remember exactly the name. It was a place I'm not familiar with, but lunch somewhere down, I guess, in the ocean front. And then we're going to go to dinner at the Atlantic's favorite oyster place down there. We always get oysters from. Yeah. So pretty much just kind of spend a day down there. Since my actual birthday, I was pretty much hanging out here with my dad and my son. So
nice. That sounds fun.
Yeah. So it should be cool. Let me see what else happened over the last couple of weeks since we recorded. I think that's pretty much it for real. Yeah, I caught a flat tire, which sucked. That sucked. Yeah, I woke up to go to the gym in the morning and I backed out the driveway and like my car was saying there was something under my car. I'm like, damn, did like a squirrel or something like I don't know, rest under my car, and then I backed up and hit it or something. It was kind of weird because it kept saying that, something detected under your car. And so like when I pulled like out into the street, like
you could hear it.
Nah, it was I looked like the light. So my PSI light was saying that my tire pressure was low. So I'm like, okay, but sometimes, most people know, like when it's really, really cold outside, sometimes that happens. Yeah. So I just kind of figured, because I didn't feel anything in my vehicle. Like I didn't feel like it was a difference at all. And so then I looked and it said my PSI was 7. I'm like, damn. I'm like, that shit was like on the rim low. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But it's surprised, I guess.
You didn't see like the truck was tilted?
Nah, so I looked into it after the fact, but they said like the truck kind of compensates for it. Like, so like if there is like a weakness in one of the tires or whatever, the truck will kind of compensate for it. So I was kind of shocked by that too. So I I pulled the truck back into the driveway because it must have happened overnight. Like I said, it was 5 o'clock in the morning when this was happening. It was dark. I couldn't see. You know, I didn't really look at the tire when I got in the car. So I just took my wife's truck and went to the gym and then came home and then had to get the car towed to the dealership. And luckily, they had one tire of my size in stock, so they was able to. Yeah, so they was able to.
Christmas miracle. That's what they
call
it.
Right. It was right before my birthday, so it was birthday. I would call it a birthday miracle. You know, what I mean, a birthday present, I guess you could say. So it was cool. They took care of it. And like I said, I got my new tire, so it was cool. It was cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's been, I would say, the holiday, Thanksgiving was great. I mean, I always say it's my favorite holiday of the year. And like I said, my birthday so far, still, celebrating it. But so far, it's been great.
That's nice. Yeah. That's nice. Yeah, Happy birthday to you.
Appreciate you.
Almost 40. 2 years, you're going to have a party.
Yeah, I am. I'm having a nice old party. Nice old celebration.
That'll be nice.
Oh, yeah.
So, what's been going on in mortgage world with you? I feel like last time we were here, we had some pretty good convo when it came to mortgage.
Yeah.
But since then, there has been some things that have come out, a few updates that I think that the people should know about.
Yeah.
One of the things that I experienced here recently was I had a client who had gotten into a fender bender, and he totaled out his car and had questions about financing. So immediately he called his real estate agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she called me, that's the right thing to do or whatever. But I wanted to reiterate and have a conversation about that because that happens often, more often than you think.
Yeah.
And I know that we're the lender, so we're the big bad lender. Like we
people feel like they avoid want to have a conversation with us for whatever reason.
Exactly. For some reason, I don't know what it is. Yeah. But anytime that you have a question when it comes to finances, when it can affect your loan, you can always reach out to us and ask us questions. Like that's not a big deal. We're here to help. That's what we're here for. We don't want you to go out and make decisions on your own and then come to us and say, hey, look what I did,
Yeah, for sure.
That's opposite of what we want you to do. So just keep in mind that anything that involves the financing or the financial aspect of your purchase, you need to reach out to your lender. If it's in regards to making an offer or you have questions about a particular home, then that's when you reach out to your real estate agent.
Yeah.
I just wanted to. I feel like that's important information because people get it confused all the time.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I can't tell how many times over the years that I'll get a call from the agent, and sometimes it's weird because I feel like it depends on the relationship with the agent. Like a lot of the agents that I work with, I have, pretty solid relationships with. I've worked with them for many years.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of know how I operate.
Right.
And they know, that I pretty much tell, the buyer, all the different things that they need to, know going into the process.
Right.
But it's just funny because sometimes, like you said, you'll have a buyer who will go back and tell the agent, certain things or ask certain questions when it almost sometimes make us look like we're not doing our job, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah.
Like at least that's how I feel about it sometimes.
But you know what? Some people play both sides of the fence because we also get questions about the contract.
Oh, all the time, yeah.
And so,
Yeah. But I guess I don't ever, I mean, yeah. I mean,
what?
I'm trying to think, like, I guess when a person asks me questions about the contract, I don't know, I guess it is the same type of dynamic, but I feel like I just answer the questions a lot of times. I feel like it
depends on
it's real. Yeah. I mean, it's real estate, but it's like, to me, it's like basics. Like, I don't feel like I'm overstepping or like doing something, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause they'll ask me like, about who do they make the EMD out to or, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. I'm just like, you would hope that the agent would have, discussed those types of things with them. But, those are like, I feel like things that are real estate. Obviously the agent should have prepped them, but I mean, it's just kind of general information.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
but again, going back to the point of if it's financial, reach out to your lender. If it's anything to do with that contract, anything you talked about within that contract, that's when you reach out to the real estate agent.
Most definitely.
It's important to know.
Yeah,
because there's questions that your agent just can't answer.
Yeah.
They're not privy to the information that's in your application. They don't know your income. They don't know your personal information. Not unless you told them.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
I agree.
they wouldn't know what your monthly payment is. They wouldn't know a lot of different things unless you have given them that information.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of agents that I feel like a lot of newer agents do this, like agents that I work with that are, haven't been in the business for a while, but I'll get some agents here recently that will ask for me to send them like the loan estimate, send them like the cost breakdown. So they do kind of have an understanding of like what the payments are and all that. Have you seen that recently, or do you have agents that ask for those things, maybe like when they're putting in an offer?
I have here recently since that new rule with the buyer broker agreements, right? Because that's important. It used to be where it was kind of like the unsaid seller would pay for buyer's agents' commissions, right? But now the buyer's agents are having to have that upfront conversation about how they're going to be paid. So of course, I feel like they have to dig a little bit deeper because they need to know how much money do you have to pay your closing costs and how much money do you have to pay me, right? And so it probably is causing them to have a little bit more conversation when it comes to the financials because they need to know how they're going to get paid. Gotcha. But outside of that, until just recently, no, they really didn't ask. But I do feel like, in the last year, it has increased where they're wanting to know what that monthly payment is.
Yeah.
They're wanting to have a breakdown of what the costs are going to be.
Yeah. I've definitely noticed a difference in that. Like I said, I don't know. It's a good point you said. I don't know where it's steering from. Because I feel like it's really just the ones, the deals that I do is just newer agents. Like, even agents who've been around, they're not really asking for it, but it's more newer agents that are wanting to get that information, But I guess I'll ask. I'll see what, just kind of inquire why. Because I do feel like common thread has been like newer agents that I've worked with. But yeah, that's cool. Let me see. Let me think of what I've seen recently that's been going on. I've had a deal recently where it was kind of unique. And I don't even know if people know this, but I got a guy who is him and his wife, guy's an attorney, wife's a nurse, and they own a house free and clear, right? And they're looking to do a move up buy. They have a growing family and they're looking for a bigger home. So what we were going to do, and this is something that you can do, which I thought you can do, but I wasn't sure. So what they're going to do is they're going to do a cash out refinance on the home they currently live in. And they're going to take the equity from that home. And then they're going to also use that loan that they're getting from a cash out refinance. And they're approximately getting like $200,000. And they're putting that down on the new purchase that they have, right? So I know you can do that part of it, but the part that I didn't know that you can do is that because we're going to be able to utilize a lease, right? So they're going to be renting out that home that they're leaving. So they're going to be renting that one out, and then they're going to have a lease in place to cover their new loan that they're getting against that departure residence. So they're able to now qualify essentially with not having to count that mortgage payment at all. And so it's kind of like a little nuance, a little like gray area there, I guess you can say. And I didn't know that was possible. I knew that, it may be possible, but I didn't know that they can do that. So they're going to be able to take this $200,000 out. The mortgage on it's going to be like $1,900. We're doing it where in the loan, it's their primary residence, and we're also listing it as, being transitioned to a investment property. And they're going to be able to utilize a lease that they're going to have for $2,000 to rent that property out. So now with this new purchase, we're not having to count their that new mortgage against them at all. And now they're able to fully qualify for this new upper mortgage payment for the new pie. And so it's really great for them because they can't qualify in some of those situations. The way I thought that they were going to have to do it was they were going to have to qualify for this new mortgage, carrying the new loan that they took out on their departure residence and this new payment, right? So I was thinking they're going to have to carry, both of them and qualify for both of them. You know what their planning is to lease the property out, but we were able to get it done or we're getting it done where they're able to not have to count that new mortgage on that cash out refinance against them because they have a tenant or a person that's going to be renting their departure residence.
What program is this?
It's just a conventional loan. It's not necessarily a program. It's just a matter of.
Well, I meant like what loan program?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's conventional. Yeah, so it's conventional loan. So I just didn't know that they can do that. I didn't know that they were going to be able to utilize,
that's no different than you having an existing lien and renting it out and moving forward. It's the same. They just had to take an extra step of refinancing and taking money out of it.
Yeah, but see, the part that it's different though is that they're able to do this even without the new house being like there yet, right? So that's where it's a little different, because like in a normal scenario, let's say, I was going to explain it. Yeah, so let's say in a situation what you're talking about, like they're departing their house and they're using rental income to offset their current mortgage to buy a new home. So they already have established where the new home is and what the payment's going to be. So we're able to do this even without the establishment of the new purchase of the new home. So that's the part I was saying, that they're able to utilize this rental offset even before the new home is even in the picture. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, so that was a pretty cool scenario that I just came across. Let me see. What else did I see? I had a conversation with a woman earlier this week about homeowners insurance. We were talking about just, she was wondering why her insurance went up. I had helped her buy a house a couple years ago, and she said that there was some things that I think it was like something with her roof, and there was a leak in the roof. And so she had filed an insurance claim, and then she saw that her mortgage payment went up. So she called me, we kind of were trying to figure out what it was. Typically when that happens, we know that, your property taxes are normally what's, changing your payment, because the amount that's being contributed to escrow, your property is normally, appreciating. So the amount that's collected for taxes are normally what's changing your mortgage. But in her scenario, because she actually did a claim through her insurance, her insurance policy had went up. And I guess she didn't notice that it had changed at all. So, we kind of took a deep dive and looked, and she was able to find out that, her insurance policy went up by about $500 for the year because of the claim. And so just, understanding and knowing that, hey, it's no different than like, you get in a car accident, if you get in a car accident, typically your insurance is going to go up because, you're looked at as being more of a liability out there than the average other, the other person who may not have a car accident, right? So same thing about that property. If that property is, has an issue where you do a claim on it, then they say the likelihood of you maybe having another claim or just essentially paying for that claim and the contractor to fix the work, that's how they get their money back, is increasing that premium on it. So just wanted to share that, because that was something that I had a recent conversation about. I think a lot of people may not recognize or may not know. So it's pretty cool.
And even it goes as far as your neighborhood that you live in. Sometimes, if there's multiple claims on different homes in that area, that could potentially increase your more insurance rate as well.
Yep, that's true.
So you really knowing what's going on in your area, you can't just go out and look this information up. But if you've seen, let's say, just like here yesterday in Virginia, we had really bad wind. Did you experience that?
Yeah. I played a little really golf in it yesterday. Mm-hmm. It was taking the ball left and right, but it was windy.
So there was really bad wind. So, if you're riding throughout your neighborhood and you're seeing like trees may have fallen, or, you see a little bit of damage in the area, you have to understand that could mean that people may have gotten damage on their home, right?
Yep.
And keep an eye out for your insurance, because you could have an increase in your premium due to claims from whatever storm may have come through, or whatever the case may be.
That's a fact.
There's some things that you can't control, like if there's a fire or something like that. But definitely when it's a natural type of thing, natural disaster type of thing. Yeah, another thing that I also wanted to touch base on is interest rates, and just reminding buyers that until you're under contract, for the most part, your rate is going to float, right? So I had a conversation with a buyer yesterday that I got pre-approved a month prior, right? And that day that we spoke, the rate was a 7.125. It was just a bad day for rates, right? I'm pretty sure the rate probably went down a couple days later, but we aren't going to update you every single day on rates, because rates, they float too often for us to give you those types of updates, right? I mean, I can have a conversation with you that morning and an hour later the rate can change, right? But it's important to understand that your interest rate is going to float with the market until you're under contract. But I said all that to say that we spoke yesterday, and I gave him an update, and I was like, hey, just wanted to touch base on you in regards to the rate, just to let you know that rates are trending down. And he had a 6.125 as of yesterday when it comes to his rate. So he was happy to know that, hey, rates are trending down. And I was able to reiterate the fact that you're floating. So don't get stuck on that rate. That's not your rate. Don't think that you're going to go to another lender and I'm just quoting you this astronomical rate and you go the next day and theirs is better, because at the end of the day, the rates are always continuously floating. Yeah. For everybody, for the most part. Unless you pay to lock in your rate early, which I wouldn't advise on, but that's a different type of conversation. Yeah.
So what in that scenario that you're talking about, because with the rate decreasing like that, and I would consider that a significant decrease. A full point is significant. Yeah. Do you have a conversation with them about like maybe them now qualifying for more? Is that something that you would
so so in this particular case, I did not, because it was something else came about. Mm-hmm. But yes, I would have that conversation with them. Mm-hmm. Really just depends on what our initial conversation was about. So for example, right, if I had a buyer who was very strict on payment and we were already riding the fence on the payment, right, I would let them know like, hey, your payment has decreased. Is this a more comfortable payment, or are you okay with increasing? Mm-hmm. So it really just depends on a particular person's scenario. But yeah, I would typically have a conversation if that was needed or granted.
For sure. Yeah. That's cool. That's good. Mm-hmm. It's always good to have those types of, I guess calls. I got to say, sometimes, I feel like for a long time we were in a continuously growing rate environment. Mm-hmm. So when, rates go down, being able to kind of maybe have a conversation with, a buyer and saying, hey, now because rates have went down a full point, you now qualify for X amount of dollars versus this, and so that's cool. Because I know there's been many times where I've had, conversations with folks that, want to be qualified for a certain amount and they can't just because of their rate environment that we've been in for the last, couple of years. So, when rates go down, it's like, hey, instead of, 300, maybe you're down qualified for 335 or something like that, where that can just, we know how it is in this area, like, $25,000 difference in home price that can change
the type of property that
can get you another bedroom. You know what I mean? That can get you, a 2-story house or a better neighborhood, just off the strength of that. So that's pretty cool that that scenario came about in that way. So that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you got any more mortgage news?
Not really news. I mean, I will say I've been really, really busy. Which I mentioned before on the last pod we did, where it's weird. Like this month in December, I always feel like is one of my stronger months for the year. Oddly enough, because typically, the summer months, summer months are typically the busiest time for us. That's the time that most people, do majority of their moving is during the summer. So they don't have to, so they move their kids out of school, in the middle of the school year. So. Right. I have a lot of people that are under contract. A lot of contracts I've gotten over the last week or two. Even a couple of refinances sprinkled in there as well. So December is looking to be a pretty big month for me. So nice. I'm excited about that. Springboard into the next year. So
yeah, December is always. I mean, probably because it's your birthday, right?
There we go.
It's your constant birthday.
I love it. The universe just providing these gifts. Uh-huh. I love it.
Yeah. See, when I was.
Your birthday July, so shoot. I mean, right?
You know what's funny? In July, I don't really do much. I don't know what it is. July is never a good month for me.
For real? Okay.
Yeah, never. I don't know why. June, yeah. July, yeah.
For real? Okay.
Nah, I think people are ready to be in their houses for school to start back in August.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Gotcha.
Yeah, hopefully this upcoming new year brings us better rates and more clients. Yeah, we'll see. But outside of mortgage news, going right into the BS, there has been a lot of things that have happened over these last couple weeks.
Yeah, it has.
And I want to start off by talking about the United Healthcare CEO that was, I'm going to say, assassinated by a hitman. Look, I'm making up stuff.
Yeah, using all these powerful words. Assassinated, hitman. Yeah.
Like I was watching John Wick.
Yeah.
No, but it's very sad news. But I hate to say but, right? It's very sad news that he passed away. And I don't know if he had children. They never really talked about that. I don't know if he has a family or anything like that. He does. Okay. I just always see the headlines as to what happened, not really like the aftermath of his family.
Yeah.
But
a lot of times they try to keep, they try not to put people's family, out there are
well,
saying.
They'll say like he leaves behind 2 kids, 3 kids. They'll say stuff like that, right? I feel
They
they
do.
normally
They do. I mean, they do sometimes. I've noticed, I guess, a lot of times when you have these sudden deaths like that, I feel like I've noticed that they don't really try to, and again, I don't know what spearheading I'm not in like public relations, so I don't know exactly why, but I feel like they don't really talk about, wife and kids and stuff like that. Maybe because they don't want like them to, I guess, be bombarded. Maybe because they haven't heard it quite yet. So I feel like that's not normally like the first thing that they talk about, when something like that happens, especially a sudden situation like that. So
yeah, but if you see the video, have you watched the video? Have you seen it at all?
No. So okay. I hadn't, like I said, I was on the road traveling for my birthday, driving and stuff, and so I haven't been tapped in. I haven't seen much TV over the last 2 to 3 days, but I've heard. I mean, I think it was on Monday is when it happened, right? Monday, I think, or Tuesday. It was
probably Tuesday.
Yeah, Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, I know. I was watching CSNBC because I watch it like every day while I'm working, and I seen like when it actually like happened. Like literally, they were talking about just the stock market at the time. Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, I should say, actually had just hit 100,000, which is crazy. People who are out there who are investing in crypto, but they were talking about the market, and they were showing that they had a conference getting ready to go on. And they like said breaking news, and they said that he had gotten shot. It was like 6:45 in the morning in front of this hotel. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and I recently saw. I know you'll probably touch on it more because you're more tapped into some of the details. But they had like certain things on the bullets, I guess, as well. They got shot.
Yes. Yeah. So, the person who murdered him used a silencer. Mm-hmm. And the 3 bullets that he was shot with said despite, depose, and I can't remember the last one.
Okay.
It
was like deny, defund, and
depose.
Yeah.
Deny, defund, depose. Yeah. And so that's what they collected at the scene. But this person was definitely a target because, and I say that because if you look at the cam from the scene, there was a woman. Older, she appeared to be older in the video, and I don't know if she was at an ATM or if she was just like, how sometimes in the bigger cities you have like the way the building goes, it's like the main, I don't even know what you call it. It's like a brick, and then the building kind of goes in, and that's where the windows are. And every so often, every like 12 feet or something, the building will come out. And most people stand under there if it's raining or something, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. So she was literally right there. That man could have just hit her too. And it was almost like he gestured and was like, get out of here with his head. Like, how you can't hear what's going on. But then she runs off and he goes up, finishes the job, goes in front of this truck. It was a black SUV that was on. You could tell someone had to be in it or they were getting ready to get into it. He goes in front of that and then he runs off, and then they later find like a video of him on a bicycle.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it. Obviously I didn't know all those details, but the little that I knew, I heard it was, like I said, they said it was at 6:45 that morning. So
they said he flew from Atlanta. That's another thing. But I was like, how did they know? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, just think about it. When someone's getting shot in front of their hotel at 6:45 in the morning, that to me just screams that, like you said, it was targeted. You don't really normally see some type of random act like that, and that where they were located, and one person being killed. Like, that's they're just putting those dots together. That kind of tells you what that was. So, yeah.
And then the very next day, I think in the news, it came out that Blue Cross Blue Shield was going to be making changes to the amount of time that they're willing to pay for anesthesia during a surgery.
Okay.
And so, of course, the media blew it up and, they made jokes like, okay, so what, halfway throughout the surgery, you're going to stop the anesthesia and tell them, we didn't get a chance to finish your surgery. But obviously that's not the case. So what they were going to do was let's say you were having open heart surgery, and let's say open heart surgery takes 4 hours traditionally to complete. But then let's say you have complications and you're in surgery for 5.5 to 6 hours. Then the insurance would only pay for the amount of anesthesia that is allotted for the recommended time for you to have the surgery, and then the patient would then be responsible for the remaining time frame
Okay.
to reduce the cost that the insurance company is paying. After this man at United Healthcare was assassinated, right? United Blue Cross Blue Shield then came back and said, we're going to change this policy. We don't want the problems.
Oh, yeah. So that obviously was directly correlated because of that situation.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, we don't know for sure, but...
Oh, we know. I mean, come on now. Timing is everything, man.
Yeah. They were like, we don't want the problems. We want our CEO to live. We're gonna pay for the anesthesia, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want no smoke.
We don't want no smoke.
Yeah, exactly.
It's basically what they said. So that was that turn of event that happened right after. It was eye-opening. And I know that a lot of people are upset with our healthcare system here in the United States. I mean, it's a huge deal. Things are being overturned. Things are changing within the government. So I can only imagine what that man or what happened. Like, why did they do that? And it has had to been something with someone's procedure or some family member not being cared for properly.
Yeah. I mean, we know it's gonna come out.
Yeah,
it's
definitely gonna come out.
You know, tea leaves are starting to trickle in anyway, so we'll definitely see. I'm pretty sure we'll probably hear very soon.
Yeah.
You know, they haven't caught him yet, right?
No.
Okay. All right.
No. I'm telling you, it was like a movie. It really was. If you watch those kind of movies, it was like he was hired as a hitman.
Mm-hmm.
You know the movies where they get their sniper gun, they come,
they
set up, shoot, and then walk away. It was like that. He pulled out his gun, bam, bam, and walked away.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Which is odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, very odd.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I saw. I don't know if you remember this. It was about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, but a young man by the name of, let's see what his name is. And may he rest in peace, Tyree Sampson. He was in Orlando and he fell from a ride. It was like one of those, I would call it, I don't want to call it a death drop, but like a drop, like a,
just a straight drop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't secured into his seat. I guess no one ever checked him or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
And he went up. And I guess he wasn't securely put into the seat, but then he fell to his death. His family was just awarded $310 million for that death, and that machine, or not machine, but that ride is currently they're gonna demolish it. I think. Nobody can no longer get on that particular type of ride because of this. Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad. I mean, obviously, no life is worth money, but I'm glad to see that family got, what is it, restitution? Got something for what happened, because that they didn't go in
civil lawsuit is probably what it sounds like happened. When someone dies like that, you can kind of go after the whole establishment that runs it and
absolutely
get them for a good amount
I
of
wouldn't
money.
be surprised if the other children or people, could have been adults, whomever, if they don't sue now that this has been awarded for the what do they call that when you see something that tragically affects you?
Trauma.
Trauma. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Trauma.
Yeah. If I was on the ride, I would have done that.
What?
Yeah.
Especially if I was right next to that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, not even think about it. I mean, but not even next to it. Just think about it. I mean,
even if you were in a crowd and you saw him falling, because 9 times out of 10,
that's my point.
There's somebody recording.
That's my point. That's what I was about to say. I mean, just being around in that area. Just think about I'm just imagining me being at a park, because I go to those types of theme parks all the time. Mm-hmm. Me being at the theme park with my kids, my family, and we ride. I'm pushing my daughter in the stroller or something. Mm-hmm. And, we see something like that happen. Like, I mean, that's like, and we're not on the ride, but we're just in the vicinity of what's going on, or we're in the park eating, and then we hear the buzz of what happened. Yeah. And, that would traumatize everybody. Me. I wouldn't want to ride no more. Right. You know what I'm saying? My kids probably wouldn't either, and they're young. Yeah. So it would, definitely have more of an impact on them, I would say, more than me. So, yeah, I can understand that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Another thing that I saw in the news was Navient, which is a popular student loan company. They are permanently banned from servicing federal student loans and have to pay $120 million in a new settlement. Listen.
Oh, wow.
You don't have student loans, but I still got like $40,000 left.
You got yours through them?
No, I wish.
Oh,
look, I was sitting here like, I had to look it up to make sure. I was like, wait, am I went down? Dang. I went down that.
Yep.
I was like, wait, hold on, wait. Did Navient, did I? Because I did consolidate.
Were they co-conspirators?
Yeah. Was I a
Mm-hmm.
part of that? Was I a part of that in the past? You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, but I think a lot of it had to do with, the whole repayment and just all the things that are happening. It's like you never know where your student loan stands. There's so many changes that are coming from the company itself and the government because it's federal. It's all over the place. So I wouldn't imagine if Nelnet or Mohila, whatever the other student loan company name is, I wouldn't be surprised if they're next. Let's just eliminate it all. Just take it all away. If you have loans that were from 2010 and lower, just eliminate them all.
Yeah. I know a lot of people be happy about that.
What?
Yeah.
A lot of people would be happy. I mean, I'm happy just thinking about it.
Yeah. So I'm helping a buyer now, man. He's an attorney. It was the same couple I was just mentioning a second ago, the scenario that I'm doing. Yeah, and they got a crap ton of student loans.
Man, it's almost like they never heard of a grant, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know. I couldn't imagine. I just couldn't imagine doing it. Like, I know people, obviously he's an attorney, and makes decent money. So I get it, but I just could never sign up to spend that amount of money. Like, or not spend my money, just pay for that amount of money in education. That's just crazy to me.
My niece went to Michigan State. And she turned around and went to University of Michigan, which both of those are high tuition schools. And I want to say University of Michigan is almost like, as far as tuition goes, they're like almost on the private level when it comes to your cost. And she walked away with maybe $20,000 in student loans. But she applied for grant after grant after grant. There's grants that are out there, guys.
Yeah.
It has gotten so savvy that there are grant apps where you can put in some of your personal characteristics, like whether you're Black, female, whether you're low income, all these different things. They have like different categories where you can go in and it'll tell you all the grants that are available to you. Yeah. You may pay a monthly cost, but you only have to subscribe to it for maybe a year, apply for everything you can. Shoot, one of your scholarships might pay for the cost of the app. Just look for the information. You have to find the information. Yeah. It's out there. It's available.
Yeah, I can't speak very much on student loans as far as all that, because when I was actually on scholarship, but then when I left playing football, I had to finish up my education and so therefore that's when, I got into the whole applying for student loans. So what ended up working out for me though, at least at the time, I don't know how it is for everyone else, is like I remember a lot of my peers like that went to college out of high school. They like their student loan amount that they had to pay was kind of based off of their parents' financial situation, right?
Yeah,
because
that's how it normally is.
But see, when I applied for student loans, like I played football for 2 years, and then I finished my last 2 years. Like I was actually like on my own at that particular time. You know what I mean? So it wasn't.
Oh, so you weren't living with your parents anymore?
No, because I already went away for college, played football. So when I came back home, I started working a job and was in school.
So your dad stopped claiming you at a young age?
I was 21 at the time, but so I don't know if he claimed. I can't remember if he claimed it or not. I just know at the time.
Usually you would use your parents unless you're emancipated, or if you are an adult that had a child and you now have a dependent. You could have back then, that was when Obama was in office, you could be on your parents' tax return, I think up until you were like 24 or something like that.
Yeah, I probably could have. But I guess I'm just speaking from, my experience. Yeah. My experience once I came home from playing football, my parents was like, yo, you got to finish your education. And I didn't, I already had that experience of living on my own. So I didn't want to come back home and, be 21 living with my parents, you know what I mean? So I was there for like 2 or 3 months and figured out my housing situation, got me an apartment. And I was working in school. So when I applied, or at the time when I was applying for, financial aid, it was based on the income that I was making. So therefore, I was able to get I guess, more student loans or cheaper, whatever grants, that were available at the time. So,
right.
I finished college with like $20,000 for 2 years that I owed, and I ended up paying that off, shortly after college. But I know a lot of other people that I've talked to over the years that have quite a bit of student loans, especially when they first came out. It was because, their parents, were middle class, and, because they were parents from middle class, I guess, kind of almost in the same vein as far as when it comes to like, how we help people buy first time home buyer program, right? Like, the program is there for people who truly need it. So they base it off of your income. So if you make a certain amount of money, then they're not going to give you that assistance. So kind of the same type of thing as student loans. If your parents made a certain type of money, then, the grants and, aid and stuff that was available, you had to kind of pay for it. You were paying them, the max of whatever the true tuition was versus getting the discounted version. So, yeah.
And speaking of tuition, University of Texas just announced that students whose parents make less than $100K annually will receive free tuition and waive fees, which is pretty cool.
Dope. That's dope.
Yeah, that's really dope.
That school about to be overpopulated. I mean, a lot of people about to start running down south. For sure.
Yeah. I also saw in the news where, and this I didn't fact check, so I don't really know if it's 100% true, but I did see where, how Trump is, he's on this mass deportation agenda. And so there, Texas is really up and coming right now. You can go there and you can get real estate for a lot less than some of your more established real estate areas. And a few of the construction companies, they're really upset about this because a lot of their employees are from some sort of Hispanic descent. Yeah. And a lot of these people are not citizens of the United States. And so it's going to highly affect their companies. So they're really upset about this. So
I've heard a lot of people talk about that recently, man. I guess I feel it depends on how you look at it, right? Because with this, the mass deportation, as far as getting, making people, leave that aren't true citizens here of the United States or don't have the legal documentation to be able to be working here. I agree. I understand, that there's a proper protocols for you to go through to be able to establish yourself here in the country. So that could open up a lot of jobs for people who, maybe need jobs, right? Yeah. That are true American citizens, right? That, have the ability to work here. But also in the same breath, I see a lot of people saying like, what we've been going through a lot recently is a lot of people don't want to work. Like there's a lot of people. So that's why there's been, a need for the folks that, maybe not truly are supposed to be working here in the United States, opportunities for them to come and work and to provide cheap labor, So I guess it just depends. I've had conversations because I, actively build houses in the area. And so, there are people who, like you said, I mean, Mexican crews come through and work and do their job, may or may not legally supposed to be doing it, but then you got people who like, I was talking to one of my buddies. He was like, yeah, man, I tried to give this job to so-and-so. And they're like, hey, it's too hot outside. It's too cold outside. It's all, just complaining about the environment versus, looking at the opportunity for what it is, So it's just one of those things where it's tough. I mean, I guess it just depends on how you really look at the situation for it,
Yeah. So I am a product of an immigrant. So my dad came over here. He did come over here legally. However, he did come into the United States and he was not a U.S. citizen. So, he was more hardworking. And I've had this conversation with others about how, yes, there are Americans who are here who don't want to work, but then you have people who come to the United States and they do very well for themselves. So I'm kind of like, I'm in the middle. Like if you're here and you are trying to get government assistance and you're trying to get put on, you also don't want to work. You just want to collect funds from our government because, our government is willing to help as much as they can. Then, yeah, you should go. Yeah. But if you're here to establish yourself and work hard, then I think that you should stay. I mean, it really just depends on the circumstance of that particular individual. I don't think that there should be a one situation fits all because everybody's situation is different. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, something I forgot to mention too. I know you asked me about earlier if I had any other mortgage information, and I do. as far as the loan limits have increased.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. So let's see. For FHA here locally.
Wait. Explain to the people what this means, the loan limits.
Yes.
Conforming versus non-conforming.
Yeah. So just, I'll go over, let me just say FHA loan limit first, and then I'll explain the conforming versus non-conforming for conventional. So the FHA loan limit for 2025 is going to be $690,000 for 1-unit homes. So in a nutshell, what that means is that, the down payment requirement for FHA is 3.5%, right? And so that allows you to buy a home, basically here in the Hampton Roads area, and still abide by the FHA guidelines as long as the loan amount doesn't exceed $690,000. Right. So that just allows you to buy, obviously $690,000 is a pretty decent price point, right? So that allows you to buy, a pretty decent price point with the guidelines that FHA allows, which are, very favorable, I must say, as far as, when it comes to the lending aspect of things, right? So that's one way to look at it for FHA loans. And then for conventional loans, the new loan limit is going to be $806,500, which is really, really good. Now I think about it, it's kind of the same type of, understanding when it comes to FHA in the sense of, that's the conforming loan limit line, right? So, they require, 3 to 5% down, depending on if you're a first-time home buyer or not. And so that just allows you to buy a home at that much higher price point and not have to put as much money down. Because once you exceed that amount, as far as your loan amount, then you're now, having to operate under non-conforming guidelines, which, are, harder to, do, right? More down payment, more reserves, those are some of the things. Yeah, more restrictions. So those are some of the things, more documentation in a lot of cases too. So those are some of the things that you now have to, operate within versus, being under that limit and, not necessarily needing to document as many things. And then also, like I said, not having to put as much money in to the loan itself. So,
yeah. And with that news coming out, I mean, I'm pretty sure that the VA is going to most likely follow suit here soon, because that's typically how it goes. Yeah. But, that to me, that just screams that the housing market is not getting worse, right? So if they're increasing the loan limits, that means that it's still a good time to buy.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
So, you don't want to get yourself put into a predicament where, 2 years ago, you qualified for $250,000 and now that same house is worth $350,000 and you no longer qualify because whatever your income is. So it's always good time to buy. Even in this rate market, it's a good time to buy.
Oh, yeah.
If you can afford it, of course. And that's what we're here for, to tell you what you can afford.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Real estate, man, like I always tell people, real estate is an investment. It
is.
It's pretty cool. I was talking to it's a guy who's on the news. So I got a buyer I'm working with right now. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's the sports director on Wavy TV 10. So I see him all the time on TV.
You're not gonna mention the name. I'm gonna tell you his position though.
Yeah, I can say a position. I mean, people who know, they know, whatever, right? So, but he's the sports director for Wavy TV 10. So it was pretty cool that it was funny. So he had called me and I was talking to him, and you know how when you talk to people on the phone, he has like this very like authoritative voice, you know what I mean? And so like a broadcaster, like it was very like, and it was early in the morning when he was talking to me. I'm like, dang, he had a good cup of coffee, right?
He's been up since 3. That's why.
Yeah, so it was
midday for him.
Right. So yeah, so that's how it was. So we were just having a conversation, and then he sent me like all of his documents, and then he sent me his photo ID. And I looked at the ID, I'm like, hold on. I know this guy looks so familiar, right? And he's a brother too. So I was like, whatever. And then it dawned on me. I was like, you know what? He's actually, I see him sometimes like when I watch like, like they talk about like, the local high school football or whatever. Yeah. Like he's the one that's like talking and doing that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I was like, yo, that's crazy or whatever. And then when I had the follow-up conversation to kind of go over his pre-approval, we were talking about that. And he was like, yeah, he appreciated, me, I would just, help him out. I was kind of giving him just kind of words like, man, it's a good representation of being in that space and being a brother, whatever. And so he was like, yeah, man. And so he's excited about, his first home purchase. So we were having a conversation about that, but it was funny because he says from 4 to 12. And so like you said, like, he said
8, 9 o'clock midday for him.
Yeah, 8, 9 o'clock. He's like, whatever. So it was just cool, man. To have that conversation, with him or whatever, and build, in that regard. But it's just funny that, some people, like, just how they have their, like, I couldn't imagine working 4 to 12, man. I don't know about you, but I couldn't imagine working. That's because like second chef. Yeah, I couldn't imagine doing that, man.
I wouldn't mind it because you get home. Well, I mean, it really just depends. You could really like work it out. But so I helped I want to say a news anchor. No, weather anchor. What is the name of the person who talks about the weather? Meteorologist. Mm-hmm. I helped a meteorologist here locally purchase a house once before. Okay. Yeah. And that was fun. So it used to be funny because I would come home and I would tell my kids like, "Oh, I'm helping him," and they'd be like, "Really? That's cool. He's like a celebrity, because he's on TV, right?" Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Did you tell now that?
Oh yeah, I told him. I told him. Yeah, then we saw him on, like, so I told him when he came home from school, and then we watched TV.
And he saw him.
Yeah, we saw it. Yeah, because we actually, it's funny. The crazy thing about it too is that I had went to a high school football game what's today? Today's Friday, so last Friday, I went to go check out Oscar Smith. So
my kids were there.
Oh, they were? For real? Yeah.
Wait. They were there. Are you talking about the day after Thanksgiving you went? Okay, no.
Yeah.
They went this past they went the day after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah, because I went Black Friday shopping. Yep, I was there. I mean, they were there. And then I came and got them.
Okay. Yeah. I went.
There was a player who got hurt. Little boy. He a big boy. He hurt his knee in the third quarter, maybe second.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And he got up. He walked off the field, but he like dislocated his knee or something. Something.
I couldn't tell if he dislocated his knee. Yeah. I mean, there were a couple people got hurt, so I guess that didn't
Dark
stick out to me.
Oh, well, he's a bigger guy. He probably played like. Let me see. I don't know what position he played, but anyway, that's my neighbor's daughter's. That's her. I don't know. Boo.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Cool.
So she went to go see him play, and my kids they were there indirectly. But
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So so I went to the game Friday because Niall he was talking about he wanted to see, like, I was always telling him, like, I don't think I took him to a high school football game when he was really young. He was probably like 1 year old at the time. So he was a baby. Okay. But he hadn't seen it, at the high school level. He's seen college, seen NFL, but he hadn't seen an actual high school game. And so he'd been asking to go. And so I told him, and one of my buddies, his son plays running back for Oscar Smith. And so I've been kind of meaning to go check him out. So it was kind of kill two birds with one stone. And so after Thanksgiving, we were looking at trying to do something. It was really cold that night too.
It was
really cold. So
my kids have blankets.
Yeah, it was really cold. So we went to the game. So all of us, Brooke and Sloan, and it was funny. I went to get them some hot chocolate just so they can keep their hands warm, or whatever, man. But yeah, so it was funny.
A lot of people left early too.
Yeah, I ended up leaving early because it was
cold.
Yeah, it was cold. Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Like there were a couple people who got hurt during the game. I'm just trying to remember, like, that didn't stick out to me when it happened. Or I mean, I might have been at the concession stand or something when it happened. But but it's funny because the dude, he was at the game. The guy, the sports director I was just talking about, I'm helping by his house. Yeah. So, but I didn't know that until after the fact, right? Okay. So we were, I ended up talking to him on this past Monday, and helping him get pre-approved to buy a house. And then, so we were just talking about it. He was like, yeah, man. He's like, you checking out any of the local games this coming weekend? I was like, no. I was at the Oscar Smith game this past Friday, though. And he was like, oh, man. He was like, I was actually there as well, man. Yeah, he was like, we were there doing some live feeds and everything for the game. And so we were just kind of talking about that or whatnot. But yeah, it was cool. Like I said, it was pretty cool to go to a high school game. I haven't been to one in a little while as far as football goes. Yeah. But it was super cold out there. My kids was like freezing. But now he was mad. He started crying because I was like, yo, because my daughter, she was freezing cold. Brooke was freezing cold. So like around, I think it was like right beginning of the fourth quarter. I mean, Oscar Smith was up like 28 to 0 or something like the time.
Yeah, it was a blowout. It was crazy.
Yeah, so I was like, look, man, I was like, nah, the girls are cold, bro. Like, I know you want to watch the rest of this game, but we see it's over. I was like, let's just go home. And so he was crying. So I ended up putting it on my phone because I can like stream like the high school games. Mm-hmm. And so on the way home, he was able to watch it in the car. So that kind of was like the, made him feel better. But he was like butthurt because we left early.
Aww.
So, yeah.
Aw. Yep. Yeah, it was cold that night.
Yeah.
It really was. It was so cold that my son had got some Skittles. And if you know my son, he is a Skittle fanatic. And so it was so cold that he wouldn't even eat the Skittles because that requires for you to have to hold the packet and he was like, yeah, no, but just put those in my pocket for later.
Gotcha,
he came home and didn't even touch them.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good
and
with
probably
it.
hard eating too. Like, I mean, I don't know how he eats them too.
Yeah,
You know, with being that cold outside and probably getting frozen right in his pocket or wherever.
But he didn't even open them to even know if they were hard. It was just a mere fact that his hands had to be exposed.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's true.
And his coat, it has the. If you ever have any sweatshirts where you can put the thumb.
Oh, yeah. I know
so
I got that.
His jacket has that built into it.
Mm-hmm.
So really, it's only his fingertips that are out, which, you know, with kids, gloves are nice, but they usually lose them. They usually throw them anywhere. So I made sure that I got him a coat where at least majority of his hand was covered. And even then, he was like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like today was a lot of information. We appreciate you guys listening to our podcast. You can follow the podcast at Let's Talk PD on Instagram, IG, and TikTok. You can also follow our page on YouTube, and you can subscribe.
Subscribe, like.
Yeah.
Follow, like, subscribe, something like that. Yeah, my bad. Yeah.
And you can follow me at SKB I am Sophia _KB.
Okay. Yeah, you follow me on, like I said, social media, Bryan. So it's Bryan, BRYAN _Royster.
All right, guys. Well, we will see you next week.
See you next week.